It's in the title. It's called the Distributed Cooperative, and the aim is simply to suggest a model for affordable housing through digitalized tools that we developed entirely, and through specific studies on architectural interventions on certain sites. I mean, we are looking into a sort of alternative to city densification and housing issues across Zurich, but broadly across Europe. Essentially, we were looking at very open data, so the GIS maps and the GIS data from an open source. And in it, we were able to localize a potential, which in the project just reveals further as oddlots, which is sort of a unutilized, you could call them strange-shaped sites, often on the border of public and private ownership, that essentially present an incredible potential for densification of a city. So what we kind of looked into was to develop a tool that would directly, automatically recognize them, and through a sort of linking them through a building regulations, it would kind of create an iterative digital planning tool where you could, in a matter of seconds, see actually the full potential of what you could do on a city, on an entire city. And the idea is to kind of, why it's called a distributed, because most of them, unlike a classical model where you have certain functions in a certain building, this would work as a kind of neighborhood scale. So it's a kind of an idea of a home on a neighborhood scale.
Because actually the program of the housing gets, with these odd lots, you have a possibility to add to the housing shared spaces to the neighborhood. For example, shared bathrooms, libraries, terraces, etc.
It's really, it's a trend. If you look at it, the cooperatives are an answer to a developer's market. And cooperatives, because they are cooperatives, they have a model of not just sharing, but sort of a community in them. And so that also includes shared ways of using space. It doesn't mean that if you own something that you need it 24 hours. And that's the real advantage of this, that a cooperative actually regulates that on a kind of very, very fine level. Why we started the project in Zurich is because it has a 100-year-old tradition, very successful, actually a world-leading tradition in cooperatives, which is extremely successful even in market terms.